Fight fans, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. For my new and returning subscribers, thank you all for your time. This video, I'm going to break down and predict the fight between Randy Brown versus Jared Gordon. Now, this is going to be a fight between a newcomer and a vet. Randy Brown has 11 fights in the UFC, and he is 7-4, whereas Jared Gordon has only 3 fights in the UFC, in which he is 1-2. And Jared Gordon's first fight was against a savvy UFC veteran, and it went the distance, and he ended up taking the loss. And his next 2 fights came against newcomers. Whereas Randy Brown, he's faced guys like Vicente Luque, Nico Price, and those are some of the fights that he lost, and he learned a lot. As I mentioned, in 11 fights in the UFC, he's going to bring in a lot more experience than Jared Gordon. So let's look at the pros and cons of each fighter. Jared Gordon has a 77-inch reach. He's 6 foot, and he's got really long, powerful arms. That upper body is extremely strong, and he relies on that to come away with a lot of his victories. A powerful overhand right, a pretty sharp jab, decent to fast hands, but more so, he's looking to knock you out. And his kick game, it has shown that he's starting to evolve there, but it's still looking like he's getting the hang of landing these leg kicks and not telegraphing his kicks. Whereas Randy Brown is a well-rounded fighter. His last 2 wins have come by submission. He has great footwork, good head movement, pretty good defense. His scrambling is nice. His grappling is strong. And this man is 6'3" with a 78-inch reach. So you can imagine he's really long, and he uses this length to his advantage. His kicks are sharp and fast, and he has very fast hands. He keeps you at the end of his punches, and he lands with power. And he's got knockouts on his record as well. But the way these two are going to match up is going to be an advantage for Randy Brown, I believe. Just because of his height and his reach, it should cancel out, being that Jared Gordon has that Randy Brown has a 77-inch reach, and Jared Gordon has a 78-inch reach, the shorter man with the longer reach. But being that Randy Brown is 3 inches taller, I think that the height and range will still favor him. And as far as the stand-up goes, Randy Brown has constant footwork, good cardio. He circles his opponents. He's in and out with his range. His feints are sharp and tricky. And so he draws his opponents out a lot. And an issue I have with Jared Gordon is he really keeps his hands low. And he relies on a lot of head movement, but not always to his favor. He lost the fight just by getting, touched up with the punches because he wanted to rely on his head movement, but it didn't work out for him. And so I expect Randy Brown to take advantage of that and exploit that flaw in Jared Gordon's defense. And Jared Gordon did, like I mentioned, he came out in his last fight and showed some leg kicks, but he telegraphed them and got, hit upside his head and then went away from those leg kicks. And a lot of Randy Brown's opponents really utilized the leg kick to stop his movement and take away Randy Brown's jab. Because, like I said, he likes to move a lot, and he's got really fast hands. So, like Vicente Luque was successful in taking away his front leg with all his leg kicks and neutralizing his movement. But I don't foresee Jared Gordon being able to do this. I think Randy Brown will be privy to it, being that his previous opponents have tried it with success. And so I think he's going to constantly be moving around and checking kicks and lifting his leg and really trying to avoid that at all costs. And being that Jared Gordon is a newcomer, I think that he will believe he can execute these leg kicks. And I think that's going to get him in trouble because he's going to get within punching range. And like I mentioned, he telegraphs these kicks. This isn't his bread and butter. It's really his punches. But his striking game is evolving. And I think he's going to try to use these leg kicks. But like I mentioned, he'll be in range and he's going to get touched up. And when it comes to wrestling, Jared Gordon is a strong guy, and Randy Brown is strong too, but those legs in that range, he can easily wrap around his opponents and get them intertwined with him and get in trouble. And he's a really good submission artist. And so I could see him coming away with a victory via submission just by wearing on Jared Gordon, tiring him out. taking advantage of his striking advantage, getting into the clinch, and just kind of draping himself over Jared Gordon. I believe he can get this done simply because he's strong as well. Gordon being a strong man, but he's not going to be as long in the legs and the limbs as Randy Brown. So I can see him getting tied up. And with his inexperience in the UFC, I have not seen him on film in these scrambling situations to really give him the benefit of the doubt that he's going to come out on top. So until he shows me this on film, I have to believe what I've seen from Randy Brown on film, and that he has shown that he can scramble and grapple and submit his opponents. Whereas Jared Gordon, all he's shown us so far is some knockout power, but he knocked a guy out in Stolze who was new to the UFC as well. And that won't be the case versus Randy Brown. He's going to have a lot of experience. So I'm expecting Randy Brown to take this fight where he wants it to go, whether he wants to stand and showcase his striking, or he wants to take Brown down and test his grappling and scrambling and submission defense. I think the ball is in Randy Brown's court. And Randy Brown has said this in an interview that he also believes the ball is in his court and that he can take this fight wherever he wants. He's not looking past Jared Gordon, but he believes that he is better wherever this fight goes. And I agree with him. And so I just think the inexperience of Gordon versus a savvy veteran in Randy Brown who has fought top competition and who's really trying to work his way to a title contention, I think he'll be able to get past Jared Gordon just by having disciplined defense and using all his experience and knowledge in the strike game and the ground game to take advantage of the newcomer in Jared Gordon. And so I think both of these fighters are fast. I would give the nod to Randy Brown as far as speed. And so I think when it comes to these exchanges with Jared Gordon's hands being low, I think he's going to get touched up fairly easily. And I just see that Randy Brown can get the job done. And so that's who I'm going with. And I hope you guys found this information helpful. If so, like, comment, subscribe. I appreciate all the feedback and the new subscriptions. So let's enjoy these fights and look forward to it. I got my money on Randy Brown. Peace.